Welcome back to Half the Battle. I'm your host as always, Daniel Levi, and joining me now is the man facing Johnny Case this Saturday, March 10th in North Dakota. I'm talking about Brandon Behemoth Longano. Brandon, welcome back to Half the Battle.
Daniel motherfucking Levy, how you doing, bro?
Doing amazing, man. How are you?
Man, living the dream, dude. Can't complain. Fight week, ready to do all of the things that you do on fight week.
Man, I mean, what's the excitement level like? Not only is it fight week, I mean, anytime you got to fight, you got to be up for it, but you're taking on the UFC vet, Johnny Case, this Saturday in North Dakota. What's the excitement level like?
It's indescribable almost, man. Fight week is always badass and always awesome and super intense and, it's not really any different, but, I get to go out of town this time. I get to go to a casino this time. I get to go, fight. I fought a UFC vet once before, a Bellator vet once before. We just had, 6 fights, I think, at least in the UFC. So, excitement. Kind of unmatched, dude. I'm fucking stoked.
Is it fun to have an away game for once? Because, I mean, for once, not everyone's going to ask you for tickets last minute, you know?
It's not, I'm taking it how I'm getting it. I'm not really looking at it any different. You know what I mean? It's the same other than a plane ride. So yeah, not having to deal with pass out tickets is definitely not a bad thing on fight week.
So you've been in there with UFC vets, you've been in there with Bellator vets, and I mean, this seems like the next logical progression in your career. When you got the call that you were going to fight Johnny Case, I mean, were you overwhelmed with emotion? Were you just like, okay, he's the next guy on the list? I mean, what was it like when you got that call that you're going to be taking on a guy who literally, he's got more losses than you have fights?
Yeah, no, it's, I didn't get asked who I wanted to fight first. I just learned if I wanted to fight on March 10th, and my answer was yes immediately. I was told it was a really good opportunity. So I just waited a day, I think, and then I got my opponent. I was told it was Johnny Case, and no hesitation, man. I'm not in the business of picking and choosing my fight. I never pick and chose, a single fight. I've always been asked, hey, do you want to fight such and such on blah 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 day? And every single time I've said yes, and every single time I've showed up at the agreed weight. I showed up the next day in the cage, so I'm not a guy that picks and chooses. They ask me, do I want to fight? I say yes, and I show up.
That actually kind of leads me into my next question, because I was going to say, you've never been a kind of guy to pick and choose fights. You've always taken the toughest fights available. Where does that mindset come from, man? Because a lot of guys around just anywhere in the fight scene, they'll take the easiest fights and pad up their records with you. You're less than 7 fights in, and you're fighting back-to-back UFC and Bellator vets.
Because, if you make it to that point, if you make it to that UFC point, there is no easy fight in the UFC. There's no easy fight in Bellator. There's no easy fight in World Series of Fighting and all these big, huge organizations, man. So you don't want to set yourself up for failure by taking on scrubs, on the local circuit, fight dudes that you're going to beat. Because, like I said, you're going to get to that UFC level, and everybody who's there is a savage. Everybody who's there has put work in to get there. So, I don't want to show up to my first UFC fight and basically be unprepared. You know what I mean? Show up against somebody who's going to smash me.
Brandon, you recently won the Georgia Fighter of the Year. How cool is it for you not just to put that plaque up on your wall, but to be acknowledged for all the big things you've been doing lately?
Man, honestly, that plaque is in the box in my bedroom. I haven't put it up on the wall yet. No, it's cool, man. It's cool to be honored, among my peers. Nate Williams was the runner-up. He got the same award. I'm pretty sure Warren Thompson has been one of my main training partners. My whole fighting career got the same one for Muay Thai. So, it's cool, man. It's a little humbling. Just gotta be happy, dude. Life is good. Just get out there and do what you want. Do whatever the hell makes you happy. If you're lucky enough to do it, just freaking bite down your mouthpiece and run with it for as long as you can,
But, I mean, is it at all, somewhat of a confirmation that, yeah, I am going in the right path?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, 100%. I'm surrounded by people who want to see me succeed. I'm around people who've been there and done that, you know what I mean? So you just got to put yourself where you want to be. And yeah, I guess it's a testament and showing you where where I am now, where I've come from, where I want to go. So yeah, it's definitely pretty cool, man. But like I said, I still got that thing sitting in the box. I haven't put it up yet.
It's funny because I hear about UFC champions. They put their belts, the UFC belt, in a safe and lock it away because they don't want to get comfortable. They don't want to act like, okay, I've already made it and all this and that. They still want that same hunger that got them to the belt in the first place.
I agree. Yeah, no, just try not to feed into, the hype. Try not to feed into everybody around you telling you you're a badass, this and that, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, I keep the mentality that I ain't shit. And I'm going out there this dude's coming out there to kick my ass for 15 minutes. That's fucking terrifying. So, that's what I train for. I train to get beat up for 15 minutes. And, I don't want to just be a punching bag. So, that's what lights me up. You gotta take fire to give fire back, if that makes sense. You gotta kind of suffer into it, That's what I'm training for. You train for 15 minutes, just ass whip. I'm training to get my ass kicked for 15 minutes.
Now, I know we spoke about this last time we talked on Half the Battle, but just for the newer fans that are going to get exposed to Brandon Longano for the very first time, how did you decide that you wanted to get into fistfights on Saturday nights inside steel cages against grown men?
I was obsessed with Chuck Liddell when I started watching UFC in the Chuck Liddell area. My brother, who kind of planted the seed into my brain, one day I was just talking about how maybe it might be cool to fight, and his eyes just lit up, and he looked at me like nobody had ever looked at me before, and he was just like, dude, you could do that. Like, you need to do that. Like, you would be good at that. And I had a few other friends who were kind of training already at the time. I put that out into the world. My buddy Ian Hudson was like, dude, I'm training in a blah, blah, blah spot. Come and train. And I think I was there within like 2 weeks, So really, I got to give my brother all the credit. My brother Devin, he was the one who looked at me like I was crazy. Like, yeah, dude, you need to do that, man. You could be good at that. And that's kind of how it started, man. So I was obsessed with Chuck Liddell. I was obsessed with watching him crush dudes with that overhand right, and it's just kind of how it started.
So last time we spoke, and I had the honor of speaking with you the day that you proposed to your now wife. Now, since then, obviously you're married. What's the married life treating you like, man?
Dude, married life is so awesome. It's so perfect, dude. It's I'm like a little kid in a candy store when I talk about it, man. If I'm in a bad mood and I hear her laughing in my head, man, it just changes my whole day around. It's awesome. She makes me a better person every single day. She keeps me accountable every single day. She's a workhorse, man. She works out 2 times a day. She works every single day. She's a coach, but she does her job at the gym. She works an hour away, so sometimes she's up and out at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sitting here laying in bed 6 o'clock and 7 in the morning. Just I gotta go train, blah blah blah. Meantime, she's already up and been at work and been grinding and been doing it for a little while. So, and dude, she's awesome, man. She's the happiest person I know. Life's good, dude. It's, lack of better words, fucking awesome.
The famous joke is the 3 rings of marriage: the engagement ring, the wedding ring, and the supper ring. It sounds like that doesn't apply to you.
No, man, the only suffering I'm doing is whenever I'm listening to Cannibal Corpse or something. Make them suffer. There's no suffering. The engagement ring, she got a nice one. Wedding ring's pretty damn nice. But there ain't no suffering, man. The only time I'm suffering is whenever I'm, at the very end of a fight camp and I'm starting to cut weight and I'm starting to, watch what kind of food I eat. I'm starting to watch how much, water I intake and getting ready to, step on that scale. That's the only time I suffer, man. I'm not in the suffering business. I'm not into doing something, if it's going to make me suffer. I did that, a lot growing up as a teenager. I dropped out of high school and just went straight to work, 40, 50, 60-hour work weeks. That is suffering. I do not do what I do not want to do anymore at this point in my life. If it's making you suffer, then you need to think about if you need to seriously think about it, you need to reevaluate it. You need to move on. I'm not in the suffering business at all.
No, that's a great point. And you mentioned how, the times that you actually are suffering, it's when you're about, you're cutting that weight. It's fight week, which is right now. So I really do appreciate your time, man. Man, you're putting on a pretty damn good poker face considering the circumstances.
No, dude, it is what it is, dude. Life is what you make it. You choose your own destiny in a sense, but I think fighting kind of shows me, dude, do what you want, man. Do whatever the fuck makes you happy, because life is short. I'm already 30 years old. 30 more years. You're not guaranteed tomorrow, man. So live every day like there's no tomorrow. Do what makes you happy. Do whatever the fuck you want. And that's how I've been living my life the past few years, and it seems to be working in my favor. Don't get me wrong. I'm struggling here and there, bills, work, all the things that, American life. But at the end of the day, you got to take care of you, man. You got to take care of your heart. You got to take care of your mind. You got to do what makes you happy.
Sounds like you're really into, stuff like the law of attraction. Am I right saying that?
Yeah, 100%. If you believe it, you can achieve it. But you really got to believe it, though, man. You really got to surround yourself with people who believe in you, people who want to see you succeed, people who've been there, people who've done that. And that's what I'm surrounded by. My coach, best friend and mentor, Byron Bloodworth, made it to the UFC. If not for him, I wouldn't be signed with Sucker Punch Entertainment. If it wasn't for him putting in all the dude, that dude is so selfless, man. That dude, every single day, he gives me 2 hours of his time. Doesn't ask me for anything in return except just to work my ass off for the time that he gives me. My wife, my mom, my dad, my family, dude, my circle's small, man. I don't really fuck with anybody, dude. I'm on a mission to get to where I want to go. And yeah, and I believe that that's going to happen. If you don't believe in what you're doing, then you need to get out. It doesn't matter if it's being in a band. It doesn't matter if it's being a fighter. It doesn't matter if it's driving an 18-wheeler. If you don't believe in it, then you gotta take a step back and reevaluate.
How's it been being signed to Sucker Punch Entertainment, man? You've been represented by them. They also represent the champ Max Holloway. It's got to be pretty good having someone like that behind you, right?
Oh, it is badass, man. That's the number one management in the game right now. Tons of fighters in the UFC, Bellator. He's got Douglas Lima signed up in Bellator. He's got Paul Felder, Bruce Taylor. Plenty of people in the giant organizations, but even on the local circuit, Doug Usher is a local in Atlanta. He's fighting, the 9th, I believe. He signed a Sucker Punch. Man, that's awesome, dude. They send me they've sent me plenty of gear. Not Max, I'm sorry. Brian, super involved with his fighters. He talks to us. He sends us text messages. He lets us know that he's thinking about us and stuff. It's not just like, oh, I got you this fight, so give me your money. You know what I'm saying? It's like definitely like a little family, man. They're definitely taking care of their people. Got to give Brian credit for this fight, man. If not for being signed to Sucker Punch, we're going to be fighting Johnny Case this coming Saturday, March 10th, in North Dakota at a casino, halfway across the country for me. So, no, it's been awesome, dude.
So, Brandon, when you think about it, when you really visualize it, when you picture it in your mind, how do you see this fight going down with Johnny Case this Saturday?
Man, I'm ready for it to go wherever it's going to go. I'm ready. I'm ready for him to try and keep it pretty. I'm ready for him to try and take me down for 15 minutes. I'm ready for, to clinch up against the cage and make it nasty and ugly. I'm training my ass off for it. He ain't no slouch. He's definitely the best fighter that I've fought at this point. But I know his stand-up is solid and his wrestling is solid. So, like I said, man, I trained for 15 minutes to get my ass kicked, and I'm going out there to do that, man. However it takes. Whatever it takes. If I win by an inch or if I win by a mile, I'm going out there to win.
Now, Brandon, obviously you're not overlooking the fight, but when you visualize your career, how long until Brandon Behemoth Longano is going to make that UFC debut?
Man, I hope it's after this one. You can't ever say for sure. You really can't. I would expect it to be after this one, but I expect it to be after the last one, too. You just got to put your time in, dude. I got plenty of dudes in the local circuit around here who've got double the amount of fights that I have who haven't made it to the UFC yet. But I'm hoping after this one, I just got to go out there and perform. Obviously, winning is the most important thing in this game, but I'm just going to go out there and find my ass off and do what I do every single time, man.
Well, Brandon, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me right here, right now, on Half the Battle. It's always a pleasure, my man. Let the fans know where they can follow you on social media and any message for them. Go ahead.
You can follow me on social media on Instagram at BML1987. It's really the only social media I use. I'm not on Twitter. I have a Facebook, but I keep it pretty low profile for, it's too flooded in Facebook land. So find me on Instagram. Tune in. I'll have a live link up on Facebook. I'll put that on Instagram for the fight coming this Saturday, March 10th. And man, I'm just ready to do the damn thing, man. I'm ready to get in there and fuck shit up with Johnny Case.
Well, Brandon, thanks again for the time, brother, and best of luck this weekend, man.
Daniel Levi on Half the Battle, baby. I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much for your time today.
You know it, brother. Have a good one.
Oh, man, be good.